Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's week 2 of Goofy training, and this is a week recovering from surgery. But it's not me that's recovering. Okay, so to give you any indication how this week has gone, today's Friday and I'm really just now getting around to vlogging anything. I'll insert a little clip here. I gotta run. Insert a little clip here of my Strava I would have done earlier this week. The main thing that I wanted to get accomplished, let me pull this up, was I had a tempo run on my women's running plan that I'm using. So I did that on the treadmill, went well. And then I did some other hiking related things, strength for runners with Peloton. And now I'm out here for an easy 3 miles, going by heart rate of course, because it is hot and I'm out here later than I thought. Whew. Okay, let me get running for another walk break here. So, the reason why the crazy week, my little Sadie, her surgery, her spay, the actual surgery itself went fine. She did really good the first few days, you know, staying calm. They gave us some medicine to help her stay calm, but staying calm and tolerating her special inflatable collar, which I would highly recommend. I just feel like it's more comfortable for them than those plastic ones. I got it off at Amazon, I think. There was a little bit of drainage that concerned me a little bit, but that is almost gone at this point. But the big thing that happened was that there was some unusual swelling. And I didn't quite get what was happening. And then I realized that she was lactating a little bit. And I was like, that's weird, that's not normal. So, went into the vet, and apparently, I don't know how often it actually happens, but it happens. Her spay triggered a false pregnancy or pseudo-pregnancy. Her body's hormones was thinking she was pregnant or just was pregnant and had puppies, and that's why she was lactating. So, I was a little upset, only because we're getting ready to go on this trip and I don't want to leave her not being the healthiest she can be, you know, for this hike that we're getting ready to go on. So it's been a roller coaster of emotions this week. All right, some more running. I'll continue the story. Sadie has caused all kinds of emotions in me this week. I've spent a lot of time sitting with her in the front yard to give her some fresh air, but just tears, wanting her to be okay, and feeling like it was my fault she was going through this false pregnancy thing because I spayed her apparently a little too soon. I thought I'd waited enough time since her heat, but apparently not. But as of this morning, actually, it seems like the swelling from the false pregnancy is starting to go down. So that gives me hope that in the next week, all of that will have resolved and she'll be in prime condition to go hang out with her buddies at the kennel while we go on our kind of a long trip. So, okay, well, I'm gonna finish up these 3 miles, and then I'm hoping for the 4 tomorrow, which is what Galloway calls for a long run this week. So I will see you tomorrow. Well, hello. I am obviously not running. This week did not go really as I thought it would go. And it's funny because I think it's been that way for several other people that are definitely having a little bit of a harder time this past week than I have. But I wasn't able to do my 4 mile long run. But I'm okay with that because I did all that base training. So missing this one doesn't really feel like it's going to affect me too much. I'm just going to do it next weekend, and because I feel comfortable, I know I can do a 4 mile and then the 5.5 the following week. So I'm not worried about, the runs really aren't that long right now. So I guess if you're gonna have an off week, right now is the time to do it when the mileage is really low. But I thought it was funny, the feelings that I had this week with everything that's gone down, with what's in our book this week for. It's, our week 2, but it's where he's talking about his first marathon, which was the 2002 New York City Marathon in November 2002. And his key lesson for this marathon was marathoners always need to be grounded in reality. And I mean, how often do we have a certain plan on how we think something's going to go, and then it doesn't? And that is reality. Life isn't always going to go as we think it's going to. But some of the fun things that I enjoyed from this particular section for his first marathon, one of the headings for one of the sections where he's talking about his first marathon was 20 miles is halfway. And how many times have I heard people that have completed a marathon that last 10K just feels like it lasts forever. I think it's important to remember that it's gonna get hard. But that's why you do the training, and that's why you develop that mental toughness to know that you can make it to the end, even when it starts to feel hard. And of course, his first marathon didn't go the way he was hoping it would go. Up to that point, he'd only done like 5Ks, 10Ks, kind of shorter things. And so when he started his marathon, he shot out with the lead group and was feeling really, really good up until about that 20-mile mark. He was running it like it was a 10K, running it like it was a shorter distance. And I know that's something I heard my sister say, is you got to respect the distance of the marathon and not think it's like something else. And that made me think about how many times you hear people say when it comes to running, to run your race, not someone else's, and how that parallels life too. God has so many different plans for all of us, and my life is not going to look the same as someone else's as far as what he wants me to do with it. A verse that I thought of, it's one of my favorite verses, is Hebrews 12:1. Since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and I can't read my own writing. And the sin that is so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. So, I mean, I thought it was so funny how I was not really happy with how training went this week, but life happens, and I'm so grateful that Sadie is doing so much better. And something I don't think I've talked about on here, but I know I've talked about my husband is a small business owner that is heavily weighted in summer tourism. But this has been one of our worst summers as far as dealing with our employees and people leaving and not giving 2 weeks notice or hiring people and then them flaking out. And so he's been dealing with the stress of that, and I deal with the stress of worrying about him and the business. And so all of that combined with just other family stuff, and then Sadie, it's been kind of stressful. But something that one of our pastors at our church always says, and I always think of it because it's funny the way he says it, but he says, God is in trouble. God is in trouble. And then he's like, the verse, Psalm 46:1, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. So whenever we're having those hard times, he's there. Sometimes he may not feel as close, but I mean, he's there. And I know that I felt that, and I mentioned this, I think, earlier, where I would take the dogs outside so Sadie could have some outside time, even though she couldn't run around and play, and I knew she wanted to. But we would just sit there in the grass, in the fresh air, in the, you know, blue sky with the wonderful puffy clouds. But I would just sit there and weep and, you know, worry, is she gonna get better from all of this? And is the business gonna be okay? Is my husband gonna be okay? And, you know, just tears falling, but I could feel God there. So even though this is a valley, and I know, like I said, other people are dealing with valleys right now. God is in the valley, just like he's on a mountaintop. So sometimes it's just so hard to remember, but that's why it's so important to stay in his word and to think of these verses when you're having that hard time, to have that truth in your head. So even when you may not, you know, emotionally feel it, your knowledge is, I know God's here, and we're gonna get through this. You know, the valley only lasts for so long. So definitely not the video I wanted to make. I was hoping for a little bit more actual training, but like I said, and actually I'll show you. Here's my Sadie girl, and she's doing so much better. She really wants to play and stuff. She's napping right now because it's hot outside and we were outside. But we're just slowly introducing her back into her normal activities because she loves to run, loves to fetch, loves to do all that, but we don't want her to do too much too quick. But she is doing so much better. I hope everyone is well, and I'm cheering all of you on with your training. Even though this is kind of not a super exciting video, give this video a like and subscribe, because I tell you what, I'm glad that she's doing better, and I feel like I'm going to be okay to board her because our trip that's coming up is going to be amazing, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys. So be sure to subscribe so you can see it, because it's going to be so cool. And leave a comment. How did your week 2 go? Were you one of the few of us that had kind of a rough week too? Always remember that you are God's masterpiece, and he's with you in trouble. I'll see you next time. Bye.